Hey, what's up everybody? Ashcorp's here with another video mock review, and this time with a guy who doesn't fit into frame. This is Hemlock. No, it's not. No, it's not. Alright, I've had him on the brain, I don't know why, but this is not Hemlock, this is Po-nua version... I'm calling him version 6.2. And the reason for that strange naming convention is because this is the 6th version of Po-nua that I've built. It actually might be the 7th, now that I think of it. But I'm pretty sure this is the 6th. It's on the 6th anniversary. I made a new one about once a year. Maybe, I think I might have made 2 the first year I had him built, which is why I'm not making that exactly clear. But I'm pretty sure it's 6.2. It's the 6th version of him I built. It's the 2nd version that I've built in this system style build, which is actually similar to Hemlock's, which is why I called him Hemlock at the beginning. And I'm stupid. Anyways, so yeah, this is the this is like the 6th year I've had this guy. His birthday is like January 5th, or maybe it's 6th. It's early in January, something like that. Yeah, I thankfully had that documented somewhere because I would not have remembered of my own volition. I just know it was around, Christmas time, because when I got back into Bionicle, it was when the second wave of Hero Factory sets came out, and I got them for Christmas because I went to Legoland for Christmas when I was like 12. So yeah, that's a unnecessary history of my Lego Bionicle history and everything. Anyways, so this is Po-nua. This is the 2nd version I've built of him. Again, in the system style. I changed that up last year because I'd been building a lot of system. I technically finished the Sins and then I unfinished them because I wanted to do some stuff with them. I think Hemlock, Riva, and Rakar are the only ones who are actually original, and then all the other ones have had at least one revamp. I know Mathox had like 3-ish, 2 and some change, because I'm not super happy. Oh, I like him a lot, but I'm not super happy with him. He's getting there, and then anyways, I'm just giving a bunch of exposition about my old Lego stuff, most of which isn't even on my channel because I'm terrible at uploading stuff and I'm busy. But let's get into this guy. So I'm just gonna take him apart as I usually do with a lot of my figures, out of ease. So he'll come apart at the waist very easily, too easily often, and then I'll just take off his lower leg for the time being. So I'm gonna shift around here. I gotta angle some of my stuff right now so I can get into camera frame. All right, so this is the left leg. Yeah, that's the left leg. This is the left leg. Just a look at the leg. It's probably outside of maybe the body, although the body I made purposely a little bit lightweight so that it could be supported. This is definitely the most solid part. The feet are like very, very chunky. I was debating on how to build these for a long time, and then I ended up getting it was like a little like stormtrooper, or I think it was First Order, given the time period that this was made back in late 2015. First Order battle pack, and it came with like that little defense tower, and that gave me 4 of these parts, which actually make really good solid toes. So I was really happy to find that. I really like how the foot looks. And then it's got a friction piece in there, which is probably necessary. It doesn't, like, I've never had a point where he's fallen over. So I mean, yeah, it's probably necessary. The side, this is built with the studs on this side. It's really hard a lot of times when you're building this kind of thing to determine that it's not in focus. There we go. To determine like what side to build a lot of the stuff on, because you have to armor it in a certain way depending on where the studs are. But it's on this side, which I like, I think, the most. Okay, I thought this came off as one solid part. It doesn't. This is like all built in. And I like that probably the most because it leaves this stud part framed on the inside. Hold on. There we go. Where you don't see it that much because it's on the inside. I really like how I did the color blocking on here. You've got the gray, and then that leads into this gray stripe in the back. There's a little bit of red there, a little bit of red there. This red here, I feel like it was meant to represent something on the original mock. No, actually it wasn't. Now that I think of it, when I was building this, I tried to keep it, while using system pieces, I tried to make it look as much as possible like the old Bionicle build, which at that point I'd taken apart a while ago. So I was using reference photos from my old slideshows. But this is probably the part that, now that I think of it, is actually the least accurate, because on his original version, he has this big, like, circular dish as sort of a shield thing. I just didn't even try. I don't think that looked that great anyway, so I'm actually much happier with this design. And it's chunky, and I really like it. All right, moving on. I'm just gonna take that off, and we'll just talk about the waist and the lower legs. So is my white balance is like super blue. That's kind of red. There? That looks good. Okay. So on the side here, this I did actually put some effort into trying to get right. His thighs, ironically, on the Bionicle version, the thighs were huge. They were like super duper long. And on this version, they're actually kind of short. I've tried lengthening them, but I think that would mess up the proportions a little bit. Some people have told me that, and I like the way it's built. I'm not really sure how to extend it and keep this similar look, because like these sit really flush with the side because they're connected. Connected like that with those pins, and because of that, they fit really flush, and I really like that, and I don't want to change that. And it's hard to lengthen it without messing that up. But I so did try to capture the original look. These gray pieces are supposed to be the long gray Metru feet that sat on top of the sort of silver, or sat above the silver Mantax. No, not Mantax. The red and black guy from Baraki. His armor in silver was on the thigh. I really like that thigh design. It was just really, really long. So, but I'm happy with these thighs came out. They're one of my favorite aesthetic parts. I also really like how they interact with the actual, careful, with the actual waist, because the spacing here is just right so that I can get it to go all the way forward. I usually don't put them in that extreme of a pose, but it's there. On the back of the thighs could use some work. I kind of like how these create some like motion lines and natural like armoring, but otherwise it's not great. And then just simple back. The top here I think kind of looks like a volcano. I thought that was really well done by me, to get all of these like the same, so like the same shape, same length, and like these come out a little bit farther, but still. I sound like I'm doing a review. Like I'm really proud of how this was done. You know, I did it, of course, but all right. Let's throw some arms off. Excuse me. And I'll take off the head for the time being. We'll talk about the torso. So the torso, I think if there's one issue with the proportions I have for this guy, besides the thighs, which I already mentioned, is that his like torso is very triangular and thins out very around the waist. Whoa! Oh no, the backpack broke. Thins out around the waist a little bit too much, I think. You know, like when you put back on for a second here. You see, it's like, it gets really thin right here, like very like cheesy superhero comic-ish thin. I think it looks a little ridiculous. And it was even worse on the last one. Like on the last one, I just had little panels here, which didn't really stick out. I think this sort of piece just flows a lot better, and really fills it out. But the torso I'm still happy with. Like I said, I kind of made it like it's pretty packed, but you'd be surprised by actually effectively how light it is, which really helps making him top heavy. He's still top heavy, but it helps, and it would be a lot worse if I didn't put a lot of effort into making like the innards. I'm not sure if I can really, yeah, it's gonna be too much an effort to take this apart and really show you. In fact, I actually already have to fix a chest panel. But it's got a lot of just like large bricks in there in the middle, which help cut the weight down. What doesn't help cut the weight down is this very greebled chest area. So on the original version, on the original version, the chest was built with, what is it? A Hordika? Yeah, it was a Hordika chest plate. And it's got a very unique and specific look. And it's got curvature to it. And so I tried to emulate that here. I think I did a really, good job. It's got the curved shape, the angularness, and then like I put hinges here so that it would curve, and it fits with this shoulder plating really well, actually. And then in here you got a little bit of red in the middle, because if you look on the original, there was a red handpiece there in the middle, and then there was like a Hordika neck that I just stuck on there. That was dumb. So I didn't really emulate it here, but I've got the red in here, and it adds some nice accenting. I think with this guy, I really nailed down the idea that his like essence, I guess, or his self is like red, and then he's wearing this like gray suit of armor. I think I did a really good job of getting that across, especially in the head, which I'm gonna get to. But yeah, you can see that in like the side here and down the middle of the stomach. You've got more of the red. In the back, this backpack is, it's okay. So it's kind of funny story. I can actually pull it off as one unit. I should be able to. It's like, it is one unit, I promise. Even if it's not gonna come off right now. Come on. There we go. Just had to hook it like that. Okay. And I hook it in one of the vents. So there, it comes off as this one part. I put a lot of effort into the designing and greebling of this. I really like using these old Knights Kingdoms pieces. Focus, please. There we go. Knights Kingdom pieces here. To build this sort of like vent hood, I guess, or hood vent, fume hood. I don't know. Thing, and then the red here covered up by this armoring. I think it looks really good. All flows together. It's just like a cramming of a bunch of these little pieces you can see there. Yeah. But the funny thing about this is I put a lot of effort into this, so I really like it. But at the same time, I don't like it because it actually undermines one of the basic tenets of what Po-nua is supposed to have, which is wings. In fact, if you look at the last slideshow of him, that's still the Bionicle version, it starts out without him having wings, and I was basing it mostly off that, so it kind of forgot the wings were there. And then there's actually an annotation that says, I would never forget the wings, and like a winky face or something. I don't know. But I was like, oh, shoot, I forgot the wings on the new version. And I've actually done like a bunch of different versions. You're just looking at a white screen. I'm sorry. You just did a bunch. I did a bunch of versions of different wings for him. A lot of them ended up being too heavy. I think the only thing that would really work is to build cloth wings, which I've seen tutorials for on Flickr. But I don't know. I feel like that doesn't really fit. Doesn't fit the character. It's not like bulky enough. It doesn't really convey the power. It's more of like a creep thing or like a gangly thing, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, that's basically the torso. Return to screen. Focus. There we go. Yeah, I like the shoulder armor. That's, I guess, something I didn't mention. I really like the shoulder armor. I think I used to have a curved piece here. But now it's just diagonal. This is, I guess you could say this is like version 6.2.5, because it's like, there was the version I put the slideshow up about a year ago, and then there's this version that I have now. And in between there was like a version that had a few small tweaks and differences, which I actually have a video review of, but the file got corrupted, and that was like a month of my life was trying to figure out how to get that file fixed. It didn't work, obviously, which is why I'm re-recording this one, and hopefully this doesn't get corrupted. Moving on to the arms. I'll split it in half, why not? Take my hand off too. So the upper arm is really bulky. It's kind of just an extension of what I had in the original one. It's got a lot less red. and it's a lot more angular, as you can kind of see. There's like a lot more shape to it. On the back here is flat. That's mostly so when I take this guy apart, which I do periodically for transport and that kind of thing, I know which is the left and which is the right side, which, I mean, like, I totally disregard that on other figures, but I don't know. It was also, at the time, the reason why this was flat is just because of a piece shortage. I didn't really have the pieces to make it look the same on there. I do now, and I could change it, but I kind of like it. At this point, I kind of like how it works now. Also, something I really like is how this sort of curves directly into this little thing up here. On the original version of him, he had some bow rock claws that like came up like, I don't know, you can look it up. It's kind of hard to show, but like he had some bow rock claws that came up like on here on the shoulder, and I was trying to figure out how to do that. I ended up putting this engine piece, and that's the closest I got. I didn't want to go super crazy with it. But yeah, like I said, trying to emulate the original is something I tried on this, but for the most part, I wouldn't say I succeeded. I also wouldn't say I failed. Somewhere in the middle of that. Here is the lower arm. Pretty happy with this, how this turned out. I don't know how different this is from the original. I feel like it's pretty similar. I don't really remember. Oh, gosh. The bottom here in this shape, it's kind of like, it was based on a Nika foot, the four-toed one, not the one with like the hook in the back. I don't know. It was based on the four-toed one, which is what he actually had here. And to get that shape, I kind of like how it looks. I definitely really like this little pyramid, half pyramid here on the elbow. I think that looks really cool. And the thing that's kind of annoying is that it doesn't line up with the one on the upper hand. If you look at that, like when they tilt the same way, they're slightly off. Although, since the arm is usually like this, I don't really care. Oh man, I'm kicking taken apart shoe rack under my desk right now. I should really do something about that. I've been kicking it for like a month. Anyways, here this was like a very arduous sort of thing to build. You can kind of see how it was built there, but to get this all to kind of like line up, it's a lot of work. Not for any special reason. I kind of just built it out like that, and you can see that's how it connects. It's got a pin there and then some pins there, which I thought was kind of clever. Not the use of pins to connect things, but just I think I hear a fly. Just the fact that I used one that connected into a Technic pin and then one that was just connected to a system block. On the inside here, there's a little connector for accessories, which I don't have. The original had like tons of accessories, like guns, flames. He had this big hook blade. And theoretically, they would connect here too, but I don't have them built anymore because I don't have the original Po-nua built anymore. But I still have this for any accessories that I may one day build. We'll see. And then lastly, for the arm, is the hand. I'm really proud of this hand design. I initially came up with it for Po-nua. It's a lot better than the last hand design, because the last hand design, the thumb would always fall off. And you could probably understand how that happened if you looked at the old one. But what I really like about this is how the thumb's integrated and really holds the whole thing together now, actually. I like how the palm looks. It's very curved on the inside there. And then, as you'll notice, it's actually built sort of inverted. You'd expect studs to be out on this side, on the outside of his hand, but they're actually on the inside of his palm, and they're smoothed down. I don't think I've seen anyone do this. You know what? Actually, no, that's not true. I did see someone do it recently, and I was a little mad about it because I came up with the design. When did I come up with this design? Maybe like 8 months ago. I don't know. And I was really proud of it. And then I think it was a Lyra built like the same thing like a week ago. I don't know how long she's had the design, but we came up with it separately, which, I mean, makes sense. It's a pretty solid hand design. I'm not surprised someone else would want to use it. I'm just putting Po-nua back together now. But I don't know. I'm just worried that now like someone's going to think we're copying each other. Probably me copying her because she's notably more famous than I am, which is fair. I don't post nearly as much as she does. But yeah, I really like that design. I think it's shoe rack. I think it does a really good job of like building a 4-fingered hand. I have a smaller, updated version that I use on Relic. As you can see, it's something like this. And it uses the mixer joint as a wrist joint, which is a really good use of it. Another place I use mixer joints on here is on the head. Let's see if it's going to focus on this and not. There we go. So on the head, you can see it has a mixel jointed neck, just like on Hemlock. Again, the designs are very similar. It's essentially become a building system for me now, which I also used on Mathoc for building these large system type figures. So mixed joints in the neck, kind of a long neck, but the neck is recessed in here, so it works out. Silver Kakama. I would have used the red one, but I'm using the red one for one of Relic's second arms. It's the war arm. But I have like every single Kakama ever made. So I use the silver one. And then underneath that, I added these aquamarine kind of blue eyes. Maybe like a light turquoise. I'm not really sure. But they used to be red. I added this just so they stood out a little bit more and didn't blend into the back sort of wind vein that is his head. Excuse me. Head/hair. This is. Oh, excuse me. I don't remember if this was on the original. It definitely was on the original Bianca one. On the system one, I think it was. But I think it's a cool way of showing like the energy and the essence of himself, which I was talking about earlier, sort of coming off of his head like that. And then you can see these little vents here on the side are supposed to like continue the vents on the side of his mask. They're notably lower, and I didn't want to lower them because then I tried that and it kind of looked like he had like hair, like long hair, and I wasn't trying to get that. But kind of just that, and it breaks up the red a little bit, so it really becomes like a top half of his head thing. I'll just pop that back into his neck and frame him up properly. Oh, you can see the side of my tripod. Could you see that the whole time? I think you could. Or is that a shadow? Nope, that's definitely the tripod. Wow, there's like a little like thing on the right side of the screen this whole time. Yeah, that's the like Lego built tripod I have this thing in right now, which is just taken off of a chunk of the giant Death Star. Hold on, I can fix that. There. Wow, I wish I had noticed that earlier. I'm sorry. Let's see, get the frame here. Oh, that's too far. Maybe I can just raise the camera. Here, Lego Batmobile box. That's too big. Nope, not going to do that. I could cut this. I'm not going to, but I could. I've said that before. Wow, I have like nothing to... Oh, here. Harry Potter book. That'll work. I can read Harry Potter. Perfect. Now focus. Thank you. So yeah, that's the version 6.2 of Po-nua. 6.2, 6.2. I'm really happy with him. I will probably update him once more. I might want to do something with the shoulders. Like the connection there, it uses, like an inverse ball joint, as all unlocks do. And then, yeah, maybe filling out that waist a little bit. I mean, I'm pretty, his leg's broken. Fixed it. So yeah, I'll probably update him once more. I'll see if I want to figure out something with the wings. I actually really do. I'll throw in some size comparisons here. Side note, fun facts about him. I built him without a scale reference at the time. Like I was kind of just building him. I didn't have any of my other figures there at the time, just because they were at college and I wasn't, like at my dorm. So when I built him, he ended up being the tallest figure I'd ever built by a notable margin, even taller than Hemlock, who at the time was the same thing. I built him without a scale, and he ended up being the biggest figure in my collection. He's no longer that. He's actually the third biggest. Mathoc not dwarfs, but Mathoc is a little bit taller than him and notably taller than Hemlock. And then I've also got the creator, which is, I'm not really sure where he fits in my story, but he's another figure who is a little bit taller. I'm really excited to show you guys him. the creator, that is. So for size comparisons, here's Relic, or Arieli, as he's been called now. Arieli. I think it's Ari. Yeah, I think. I'm asking myself. It's Arieli, now that I think of it. If Arieli, I'll probably explain the name change. It was the original name for him, actually, a long time ago. It's always kind of been his name. And I'll explain that at some point. But you can see he sort of comes up a little bit below his chest. And Arieli is probably about the average height of my figures. He's maybe like a smidgen taller, just because of some oddities in his build style. Fun fact, I recently rebuilt his head. That was the biggest, probably major update that I made to him recently. And you'll notice there's a tiny little wind vane that's supposed to be the same as his up here. The little like mirroring thing. And I really like that new head. I'll go into that in the review for him, though, if I ever do one. Why am I taking him out of frame? Oh, yeah, I'll take him out of frame. Another size comparison. Armored Batman. You can throw him up there. It's comparing Bionicle figures to Lego minifigs is such an act of futility when it comes to size comparisons. But there it is. He's a little bit smaller, or a little bit taller than his head. And then I always try and throw in a size comparison that more people will recognize. I don't know how many of you will recognize this, considering the demographic of my channel. I would assume, or at least hope, that a sizable amount of you have built this, considering the instructions have been available for a little while. This is the JTO Makuta, which it's actually about the same height. I feel like Po-nua is a teeny bit taller. The camera angle doesn't really show that. If anything, it shows Makuta being a little bit taller. There you go. Yeah, Po-nua is a little bit taller by like an inch. Like an inch is would be like that. I don't know. A Lego inch. I don't know. Let's get Batman out of there. He's doing nothing. I have the see-through how on JTO Makuta. If you were curious, I'm not sure if I'm gonna buy a Mask of Ultimate Power from Shapeways. I like how that looks a lot. It goes with the color scheme. And then here's that Mr. Freeze robot. Okay, yeah, that's not gonna work. There he is. About the size, a little bit. The robot itself is about the size of his torso. Let's take Mr. Freeze out. So yeah, that's Po-nua. Very pleased with him. I already gave my cousin slots, so I don't really need to say anything here. So yeah, hopefully I'll get some more views up. I'll try and put up a slideshow of the sins in some context. They're definitely not done. Vestal really needs some work. I don't know what I'm doing with him. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Oh my gosh, this is 28 minutes.